All right, and we are live. Hello, guys, and welcome back to Fox to Fox Report. This is the post match review for the match that we had yesterday over at the Brentford Community Stadium. Is it called? Not sure. Completely forgot, but it's West London. Drew 1-1 away against Brentford in a match where at the start, first half, we didn't play well. We couldn't produce anything up top. Daka looking up top looked very hopeless. Nothing was getting produced. And with the goal with Brentford, it sort of leaned towards, we're going to lose again. We can't work, from there. We can't produce anything. I don't think we're going to come back from this match, but certainly in the second half, we played much better and produced and then scored. But yeah, this match was a match where in the second half, we could say we had a much higher chance of getting something, as in like 3 points, if the right sub was to be made. But that didn't happen, and I'll get towards that later on. But first, going into the comments, Leicester for life. How's it going? Everson should start over Ward. Yep, I'll get to that. And I will try to get to do some more streams. But frankly, with work and all, it's been pretty tough. But yeah, I'll try to do as much as I can now going into the international break. Try to see what I can do and try to get a affirmative schedule and do more of those streams. So yes, going into, like I said, 1-1, important draw, important point, but still dropping down in the table. So going over into currently what the table is looking like with the draw we had against Brentford. Certainly other scores did not this time fall in our favor. So going and just sharing that right now, we are with 25 points, just one short from the relegation zone. That is 18th, 19th, and 20th place. So not looking good. West Ham are a game, or we have a game, one game ahead of West Ham. And pretty much if they draw or they win, then, if they were to play this weekend and they were to get a draw or win, we would be sitting most likely in 18th place. So not a good sign at the moment. Like I said, important draw, just 1 point difference from that 18th place, but not not the result that we are, certainly favoring. We need something, 3 points. We need to keep winning. We can't no longer be drawing. And it's looking more and more just scary, just scary. Who's to think that we would end up in this position from the start of the season? And yeah, I don't know, but Everton are certainly out. Forest are out, and Wolves against Leeds United. You would think Wolves would win at home. They get a red card, and I think they lose 4-1. So that's just something it's a Premier League for you. Teams that are in the lower level of the table can beat teams that are higher, and then pretty much, you would think, Wolves are a good side. Then next thing you know, they don't win, and it's a result that doesn't favor you. But going into the match against Brentford with the formation, with some performances, like I said, have been improving. Going into first, Tete. Tete has, I think, in that match produced a little bit more of what we saw against Aston Villa. And just comparing his stats from the match against Brentford with the match against Chelsea, against Southampton, and against Blackburn Rovers. Dribbles, successful dribbles from Tete have improved and been much better compared to those last three matches. So just to show you guys what I am talking about, going over here to Sofa Score. Just let me zoom in a bit into Tete. Just going into, so if we see right here into his, where is it? Oh, yeah, dribble attempts. So right here, successfully, he did 3 dribble attempts and successfully did 3. So that is great. And compared to, like I said, his other matches that he's played, we'll do Chelsea, for instance. Going into Tete, he was a sub in this match. Let me just make sure and see where is he? Where is he? Okay, so right here. So dribble attempts against Chelsea, 2, and then only successfully did it one time. Now against Blackburn Rovers, which he started, which we all thought he would, or he's supposed to be doing because it's a championship level team. Didn't do as much successfully when it comes to dribbling that he then yesterday's match against Brentford. So look, so against Blackburn Rovers, he did 5 dribbles and only successfully completed 2. But we did see that insane just the way he took on players in the second half of yesterday's match, where I believe there's just like a quick 1-2 touch with in between his feet, which was pretty cool. Almost got a goal out of it. But seeing more of that from Tete, think a little bit more. Are we going to give much, more thought into that, into Tete's ability yesterday and how much he may have improved in that match? Not necessarily, not yet. It's something that, of course, we want to see more often, but we can't say that Tete is back. He's back to playing like the way we played against Aston Villa. So it's just, let's just monitor and see, how that does. But frankly, we want to see more of that. Now, Vardy coming on. Nothing. It didn't do anything. Kelechi Iheanacho would have done so much better. So much better. But Vardy can no longer dribble as much. He cannot, be that player that's going to receive an overhead pass and beat the defender to it. His pace is slowly dropping. He's not at that age anymore where he's like the fastest striker in the Premier League. And I think really going into next season, if we stay in the Premier League, his presence, his time at Leicester City has really need to be put into question, because frankly, it's not helping out the squad. It is not improving when he comes on. So it's, as much as I hate to say it, it is a waste of space. And it's what's best for the team is having a player that's going to come on and be effective. Can't say that there are many players that we have to come on and be effective other than Kelechi Iheanacho, who should be starting. Now Daka, at times, when playing alone up top, he can be effective, but it's very inconsistent. Like the first half, didn't do much. Second half, a little bit more support from the midfield, pressuring Brentford's goalkeeper, but still very inconsistent, and preferably much more effective when he's with a second striker alongside him. Now, Kelechi Iheanacho, his substitution, why? There was no reason to put Kelechi Iheanacho like 2 minutes before the 90th minute. There's no reason. If you're going to put him on the 75th minute, the 70th minute, but not 2 minutes before stoppage time. No, there was no point. No point. The midfield everyone was tired, was shot. They weren't, coming up whenever they had the ball. And there were numerous times where, we could have a breakaway. Vardy has the ball, but there's no support because everyone is still on our side, inside our box, just slowly coming up front. And yeah, no, that change for Kelechi Iheanacho should have happened much more, before, not 2 minutes before stoppage time, much more earlier. But going to defense, solid defense. Suter, what I've been hearing, great in the air, has pretty much won all his aerial balls. And that's what we want to see. We didn't have Fast. He was suspended. We had Daniel Marty. We had Ricardo Pereira. We had Castagna. And that necessarily has, I guess, worked a bit more structured. Now, is that to say that we go with that back line, from now on? No. but that is what we want to see. And preferably, I don't know whether it's just the way we approach these matches, but I don't understand how we're not playing like that. A team like Brentford, who I thought wasn't going to be easy, probably one of our hardest matches compared to Chelsea, compared to Southampton. If anything, Brentford is better than both of them, but yet we were able to defend okay and go up against Ivan Tony, the rest of their attacking players who are very, very talented. And yet, yeah, we are, somehow we just found a way to hold our ground and to be able to win those balls in the air and not get that many shots on goal. In corners too. Other than the goal that they scored, okay, okay. But yeah, it's sometimes like you need that solid defense in matches against Chelsea, in matches against Southampton, where I don't understand why. They just doesn't appear. It's a typical Leicester to appear great in the matches where you wouldn't necessarily think or you wouldn't necessarily expect them to be good because you're playing a very, very well for a very, very good team. But when you play a weak side, we play horribly. It's very confusing. Let's for like Castagna, Pereira, Castagna left since Christensen is injured. Now, Christensen is coming back. Preferably, I think after this international break, he should be good. Was supposed to get a call up for Denmark, but I think with his injury, he's no longer going with the Denmark team. So I believe so. He will be ready for this coming next match after international break against Crystal Palace, which will be very important. His quality, his pace. What does that mean that he will take over Castagna's spot and Castagna goes on the bench? Or is it Ricardo Pereira who goes back on the bench and Castagna takes that right side again? Not sure, but I am satisfied with all three of them. I think all three of them have demonstrated great quality and certainly will be a tough decision. But if you were to ask me personally, who would I choose to play those back lines? I would choose Christensen, of course, on the left side. And on the right, I would like to say Castagna. Ricardo's much more faster. I will say that. But Castagna's a little bit more organized and not too risky like Ricardo, who at some times will press too high or will try to take on a player, will lose the ball, and then you have all that open space, in on either side, whatever he's playing. So that's one thing that's that I took note of Ricardo, but happy that he's coming back, happy that he is getting back to what we know we've seen in a player like him. Using pace, but slowly and slowly, we'll get back to the being that top quality player. If cross our fingers, that we saw back in 2019, 2020 season. So other than that, I think Ricardo, Castagna, Christensen, like I said, are great players. We'll see what happens. And does Brendan Rodgers stay with us moving forward into this international break? Will he be our manager coming into the match against Crystal Palace? 9 out of 10 of a chance, yes, he will. And I don't think they're gonna, get sacked. I heard on social media if the only circumstance for Brendan Rodgers to get sacked would be if we were to drop down into the relegation zone. Then maybe the team would pull the plug and have Brendan Rodgers sacked. But other than that, as long as we stay up, out of that zone, then he will still be the manager. Going to the summer, that's another question. So other than that, like I said, we are 1 point away from relegation. West Ham didn't play their match over the weekend. I believe it's because of the FA Cup. But when they do, and if we keep losing, we're going to go into 18th place, 19th place, and 20th place. So right now, going into the table, let me just look at that and show you how much of not much of a gap there is between relegation and safety up to 12th place. So going into Southampton, they are in 20th. And right now, Aston Villa are 11th with 38. You could say they're safe. Yeah, looks like it. But Crystal Palace right now in 12th place with 28 points. And then we have the last place with 23. So that is a 5-point difference. How much of a change you would go from 20th into 12th by winning 2 games? Certainly, we are in probably one of the biggest relegation battles of probably in the past 8 years, if I'm mistaken. But yeah, Crystal Palace, Wolves, Leeds, Everton, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Bournemouth, and Southampton. The only teams that have not sacked their managers are West Ham, Leicester City, and that's pretty much it. Just us two. And Forest. So yeah, Forest, Leicester, and West Ham all together are the only teams that have not sacked their manager, and it's going to be quite some scary last remaining matches of the season. So we have to see what happens. But we play Crystal Palace. They sacked their manager, and we whether that's a good sign or not. But always, like I said, going into the international break, it could be, either a good thing or a bad thing. Certainly a chance to regroup, a chance to go over tactics, improve, and who knows, we could come out of this international break much better, like we did last time, where we beat Everton, where we beat West Ham, we beat Wolves. Hopefully that happens, but certainly with this result right now, 1-1, we are slowly dropping down in the table. Lastly, going with any praise for Everson? Certainly so. I will say at times I thought his positioning was a little bit off, but not bad. His first, is it his first, if it's his first, start of the Premier League with us and a 1-1 draw, definitely, personally take it as a positive. But positioning wise, I think, he definitely will be, he'll definitely have to improve on that. But over the break, he probably will. And I presume he will be starting, for these next couple of matches that we have in the Premier League. As we all heard that Brendan Rodgers spoke to Danny Ward before the game against Chelsea. Who knows what they said, but probably it had to do with Everson is now getting a chance. So hopefully everything improves coming into the international break. We are off for one whole week, and then going back into the Premier League, it's Crystal Palace. We will be playing. Madison will be playing with England. So we'll definitely see. I'll definitely see a couple of those matches and see, whether he starts or not. Hopefully he does. Be better. He hasn't played the World Cup. But other than that, that's all I have for this post-match review. I'll try to see if I can do another stream during this international break, maybe talking about England if Madison plays, any news updates. Who knows, Rodgers may be sacked. Doubt it, but if that happens, I'll try to get a stream going. But like I said, that's all I have for this post-match review against Brentford, 1-1 draw. Leave a comment, anything, just put it all in the chat or the comment section below. And of course, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. All right, guys, I'll see you guys next time.